here's the RSI on 15-minute, getting ready to curl to turn, to come back down, and then went and marked where that red train turned to green trend, and then went back all the way to the 4-hour, the 2-hour, the 1-hour, the 30-minute, and then into the 3-minute for entry point. And it is 100% spot on for a day trade to pick up anywhere from 5 to 10% on that whole 15-minute red train.
Yeah, yeah. So what you want to do is, right, so we'll put a video together for it, but so when you go back, right, so here's what you do, right? What you want to do is find where, because it's going to be, there's big hits and little hits, right? But all right, so what were you finding as far as like percentages? What was the average percent? 1, 2, 3, or what?
Well, no, actually, go like at so we just looked at Matic.
All right, hold on.
Just
Let me
pulled the
pull that up.
chart and started it at the 15-minute red trend that was from yesterday at like 5:45.
All right, give me one
And
sec.
it ran all the way. The red trend ran all the way to today at about 1:30.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that was a 6.5% move, which at 30% leverage would have been 180%.
Oh yeah, easily. All right, so let's see here. Let me pull up Matic real quick. Yeah, it sounds like you guys are starting to like really piece it together.
Well, yeah, and that's, I mean, that's why I had texted you. I'm like, I think I'm, really kind of over analyzing some stuff because it's looking at too many things at one time. I guess you could say that. And now this even kind of simplifies it even further because when you were on the call this morning talking about just trading, the 4-hour moons and trends,
Mm-hmm.
meaning, go ahead up 4-hour red moon,
Mm-hmm.
here's your red trend,
Right.
is the 4-hour, 2-hour, 1-hour, going down, go through your checklist, get in, and then go back to the 4-hour and just trade the 4-hour trend and moon when it goes from your 4-hour red moon to your 4-hour green moon. Get out, let it reset, and trade it again, and go through your whole. So those are the things like when I told you I initially talked to you. It's like I know what I'm doing, but I need that process.
Yeah.
And if I can simplify, I can simplify the process to one or two things and just hone in on that. I'll kill it. The whole,
Oh yeah.
almost every
You're
time.
you're
Obviously, stuff's gonna, for whatever reason, shit on you one or two times. But for those other 8 or 7,
oh you're getting big
if
wins.
you keep pounding it, you got wins, and you're just, okay, yeah, this was whatever, just not a bad occurrence for whatever reason. But if
Yeah.
you're nailing 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10, and
Right.
it's this simplistic, it's like it's a rinse and repeat all day long.
Yeah. So so there's 50 ways to trade the trades, right? And what we've done is we just broke it down after kind of like going through all the systems, right? It was smarter to just come back down to let's just do something everyone can do, right? And those who are more advanced, who've been trading like yourself, will come in here and see patterns and go, man, I could use this, right? And that's the whole point. But
Right.
a lot of guys, when we try to, we put that out there first, it doesn't, because they don't have the experience of how everything kind of comes together. It's a little bit harder for them to kind of go boom. Remember I told you, like, as soon as you see it, you'll be like, oh shit, this is like,
Right.
yeah, it was just going to click for you. Like when you've been trading for a while, when you see these things, it's like, oh, very simple, right? But that's why we kind of bring it down to, a basic person without the time or how that stuff, they need to have a trade they can get in, very safe. It's going to run for a while, less pressure, nothing to it, right? And then at the end of the run, it's going to have what it has, right? Where traders,
Right.
they're more on the day trading side, right? So what you want to do here is like piecing together the best times of the moves, right? So as we can see here on Matic, there was the 15-minute trend is gonna pay off for it most of the time any way that you play it. So what you want to do here is like you always want to have 3 triggers, right? That's why I was going to do the video, but I can run it right here. So the first thing I want to do here is remember the base of the system is always going to be the 4-hour and the 2-hour, okay? And those systems have 2 triggers. They have RSIs and they have trends, okay? So here, and we have obviously the big boy, which is the daily. So the first thing I would do here is I would take a look and say, okay, let me see what's happening with my daily, right? So we're gonna take a quick box, and this is where you guys, when you start piecing it together, you guys can take a peek here and kind of go, okay, I see what's going on here, right? And this is remember the position trade, the very first one, the video we talked about trading with the position, with the daily. This is why it works like that, right? Now inside of this, there's a ton of trades that make money, right? But for someone new, this is the easiest way to get themselves like a position to get paid here. You're not doing anything. You got all this trend here, and you can see here it delivers every single time. But a lot of times it just comes down to like experience, right? And I said that's what I said with you guys. When you take a look at this, you're going to be like, oh, wow, this is okay. This is what I've been looking for. Something very simple. 1, 2, 3, boom, 1, 2, and now you know where you're going. The 2-hour, when you use the 4-hour, the 2-hour moons are where you close out and then re-enter if the 4-hour is still going. So that gives you that second element of taking profits early. Oh, this is going to be a runner, and then it gives you another run, right? So those remember that when you're using the 4, use the 2-hour to close. All right, so now we can see in these areas here when we have the daily trends, which is the very first position trade, it gives us, we know that we're going to get our shorts in there, and when it's green, we know that we have those longs in there, right? So this thing goes both ways here. They're huge. During those time periods, we just trade with that trend because that's the trend of the coin, right? So that's the direction we want to be. So now that we have that kind of mapped, when you're looking at the 15-minute and so forth, you can see the biggest 15 minutes as we move along are going to be inside of those. They're going to have those trends there. That's going to be the basis of pretty much all the big guys that kind of pop up there. They're going to give us that nice moves inside here. So this is where we can take advantage of those bigger moves, right? The other thing that we're looking at is we always want to look at our 4-hour. Right, so when you have those things, or actually, you know what, the biggest one, the 2-hour is going to be your biggest fan when you're day trading. So we'll just go there. So the day trading, right, when you're working with the 2-hour, this is just going to give you, this is kind of like the early notice of what's really happening, right? So here we can see this nice trade that's set up here. That's that daily right there. That's the 2-hour trend, right? Nice little 2-hour trend. Same thing here. 2-hour trend, right? Same thing here, 2-hour trend. So when you get to that point where you're starting to recognize that the 2-hour trend is coming, and you kind of see that, you can see where that basically turns into that bigger benefit of saying, okay, this is where I want to be. I got my 2-hour trend happening too.
So that's going to be a new 2-hour trend that you're about to enter into pretty much right there?
Well, it already happened. See it right there? Yeah, it's already there.
Yeah, okay.
So it's still continuing,
okay,
right?
So this makes sense.
Yeah. So now the 2-hour there, the bonus is always working with your RSI. So when you go here, you can see where the RSI pushes up. But more importantly, guys, make sure we're always paying attention to the money. So the RSI is more like the sentiment, right? Meaning that that's the people interested, right? So it's telling you what's happening. These lines here, the reason why we have these installed is so that these are the money lines, right? So that's volume with price action. It's great if 1 million people are looking at it, but if they're not spending any money, it doesn't matter, right? So when you're watching your RSI, you can get to the point where you're more interested in, once you're kind of zoned in, you see your RSI pushing up here, you're really interested in this, the money. When it starts to kind of like get above and you see it kind of breaking down here, this isn't a bad entry if you got this entry right there where see how it started to break down there, right? It's starting to become your money there, right? So I like to look at this here. See how the blue line went flat and then it curves right there? So that entry would have been on this candle here. So we would have been in this trade after that blue bent, we would have been somewhere in this candle here. So that right here is the trade that we would have been in if we were taking this trade on the earlier side, right? So not a bad position there, considering it. Matic's a little bit rougher of a coin, but I mean that moves 6% for you, right?
Right.
So what you want to have is a consistent 3 things that you look at and your checklist, right? So for you guys, when you break down the 15, part of the video is going to be like this, right? So you have your daily trend, that's your position trend anyways, right? So it's always helpful to know what trend you're in or what trading zone you're in, right? But then what you want to have is what you can, when the daily's not there, what makes it still profitable, right? And that's going to come down to your daily 2-hour trend, right? That's going to be where you want to be minimum to have that going. And that's because when the daily trend's there, it means your volume is negative. You see what I'm saying? So it kind of lets you know that you're working where the volume is king. Okay, whatever the volume is the only thing that matters, right? So with the volume breaking down there, that just kind of gives you that trading zone that's really nice to have. And you take a look and you can always go back and say, okay, well, let me take the worst trade here and see if I could scrape out, a percent, right? Which is kind of like what that happens right there. You get that 1% move right there. So remember, the goal is, I know when you guys start mapping this out, you're going to see 5, 6, 7% goals. The goal is simple.
Right.
Mastering the 20% move.
20.
That's it, right? Because the goal is every $1,000, we want 200. So we got a $4,000 bag. We want that quick 800, and we want to move on. If it runs, it runs. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But either way, the goal is to knock out those trades to where it's like, all right, there's a quick 800. I do 3 of these a week. I'm at 100,000, right? Keeping it very grounded, because it gets really quick where we forget that what we do, right? Because like earlier today, we had a new guy, Horse, 10 trades. He did 300% in 2 weeks. Now, a lot of people in the Discord will look at that and they kind of like, they look at it and go, okay, we're trying to do 300% every 3 trades, you know what I mean? 100% a trade. But what they don't realize is most traders make 20% a month, right? So, we have to stay grounded on what we're trying to accomplish, because we do have big runs. They do have big, we'll turn over some big wins, but those are just cherries, right? We got to focus on, though, every single time we make a trade, we're getting the 20 to 40% that we want, right? So that right there, this is a very simple thing. So when you break it down, you can see when you're trading with the 2-hour trend, you know what I mean? You're getting these moves here. Now, we go back and take a look in here. We're going to find that there's going to be a lot of sections in here that are going to have the 15-minute trends as well. And you're going to see where they'll kind of coincide with this, right? And that's where you want to kind of like make sure that you're picking up 2 things that you can piece together, 2 trends that you can use together to get yourselves, the trade that you want. So now when I go back to my 15-minute, I just do a quick walkthrough here. So now when I'm seeing that when I have a 15-minute trend and I have a 2-hour trend with it, see the difference? See the dump right there? And then here you get go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say it's just a lot faster of a dump because it's just in the 15-minute.
Yeah.
The hour.
Yeah, but see right here you have a 15-minute trend come in. I didn't mark that 2-hour there, but it's always beneficial to have those 2 things coming with you, because it's kind of like letting you know that you're hitting a nice little pocket. So you always want to have something that you can look at. So when you're trading the 15-minute, here you have the whole daily with you, right? So you have that extra element that just allows you to be very comfortable in the fact that if you're trading the 15-minute trends, you can be comfortable knowing that you're going to have, as long as the RSIs are in your favor, you're going to pan out pretty well, right? And that's kind of like the key to learning where you're at, right? Knowing where you're trading the trading zones, and then taking advantage of those trading zones, So when you look at those 15 minutes, just kind of like piece it together. And I'll finish up the video tonight, and we'll go over tomorrow as well. But kind of like finding that day, because this will be the next like day trading video that comes out. Just really focusing on how to execute in those middle trades.
Right. So the move I was talking about just a second ago was the basic the one where you are right there, all the way, that one right there. So it is. Now when I clicked over, when we mapped it out, the 15-minute red trend comes in just a little bit before, and then it's heavy and just falls out exactly like that. And that move right there is 6.5%.
Yeah, yeah.
Even if you got in a little bit late, because there is that little bit of that 15-minute trend that is right before it, and it turns real quick. There you are. So that first 15-minute red trend it turns red, but the RSI is all the way at the bottom, and then up, and then you're right in, and it just dumps. Oh, you're on 1 hour, okay?
Yeah.
It's 1
So.
to 1.
So what I wanted to show you was like, okay, so the reason why we go through like the day trading, the videos are very simple, is because once you recognize a trade, right? So for instance, the trade that we normally hunt down is going to be where if you have a pump or anything like that, you always get a red moon. You're looking for the pullback, right? So there's different red moons here. So here's your 1 hour red moon. You can see you get a 1 hour red trend here, right? That's kind of like the first trigger to what you're looking for. You see what I'm saying? So now this trend pulls down, not too bad. It's a good early entry as long as everything falls into place, which is what? We want the volume to break down, right? And this is the most important part. So once you see that volume come down, get below that 4 line, see how it goes flat? And then that blue line starts to commit, right? Now here, we don't have the RSI where we want it, right? So this just allows us to say, okay, this is a trade that's coming. Right? So this trade is normally, now this literally, if you go to that video we talked about the call today, I was explaining to him how he has a what's called a moon reset, right?
Right.
Which was basically real simple. The trade that we want is when the 1 hour moon goes red, the volume breaks down. If the RSI isn't where it needs to be, we want a moon reset, right? So notice here, it goes from the 1 hour to the green moon. And then the 1 hour red moon comes back. See?
Right.
And the RSI is right where we want. So that's, yeah, so that's our entry right there.
Right, and that's exactly where the 15-minute red trend comes in. So you got 1 hour breakdown. The 15-minute is turn red. The day's red, and the 1 hour's red. So I mean, and I just looked real quick at about 5 different coins, and I just clicked what I had watch list. Really didn't depend. Arbitrary, next, click.
Mm-hmm.
And when we went through them, it was really spot on. I mean, even if you went from a green a few other 4 hours coming down, but you're still in a green trend. All of a sudden, everything reversed, and when that 15-minute red trend hit, most of all of them were lined up to where you had moves like that 6.5,
Yes.
4.5, and it just depends on how much the basic money was moving at that
And you can
point.
be in a situation where when you're first starting, because this is all about entries, right? So like all these trades hit. They just the entry depend. That's what's going to basically determine your success, right? This is why we did like this week. We're doing a 30x leverage week, right? Because I want everyone to take the time to do 30x leverage to realize that work on their entries, right? So 30x leverage gives you a little more room to work. But these type of trades, if you're doing your 10 to 20x, right? Even on a 10x, you're getting a 60% gain, right? On the 20x, you're getting 120. So you want to push at least a 20x leverage to 30, somewhere in between there, 20, 25, right? And this allows you to be a little early on your entry. Maybe you missed something, and that's where the 10 trade review comes in. Then we can go back and say, hey, you had a moon reset, right? Why are you entering on that green moon? Let it reset, right? And as you can see, like when you walk your way through these trades here, right? And we can see we had a moon reset. We had a red moon, red trend, green moon, and then right here, another red moon. We got this dump, right? Same thing behind it. Red moon, red trend, green moon, red trend. We started this dump right here, right? Then we got that another moon reset, and that's when we got the trends working together, and that's where we get our dumps, right?
Right.
And these first pullbacks, these first pullbacks after a big pump, this thing is pumping. What you're looking for is you're going to get red moons in here. What you're looking for are pullbacks, right? Which you can see as they start to move up, there's little bitty times that red moon comes in, and it's going to draw some type of pullback, right? And they don't look like a lot, but when you're scalping, right, and you're taking these little pullbacks, I mean, these scalps are still working out. You only remember these guys are doing 100x leverage, so this right here, that's a 50% gain. You know, yeah, just taking the minimal, right? So, and this is where when you're actually tracking the 15-minute, this is why everything that we use is basically an element of the next thing. It's the same thing. So when you're looking for a trade, you're not like looking for other parts. This trade that happens right here is actually based on the 15-minute red moon, right? So when you get into the zone, you're going to catch a red moon, red trend. You're going to see these trades happening, right? So it's the same thing. You get your red moon, red trend, you look for a reset. You don't get your reset, you move on. Red moon, you look at a trend, you don't get it, boom. Red moon, red trend, you need a reset, you don't get it, right? So these moon resets are very powerful because that's basically the end of the trades, right? So here you finally get a moon, a reset, and then boom, a dump, right?
Right.
So once you start putting the little patterns as you move forward, you'll start it'll just start piecing it up, going, okay, so once you know the master trade, which is basically what's happening on the lower level with the daily, you know what I mean? We know there's a daily pullback here that's, dragging this entire coin down anyways. And we're just getting bounces here in between with those 1 hour, right? Look at these 1 hour pulls, right? So when you're using those other time frames, just mix the 15 in. And the different coins are a little bit different, but mix the 15 in with like the 1 hour and the 2 hour, right? So that way you know that you're heading in a good direction. And that's just the same thing with the RSIs, right? If you're working the moons in, work your moons in there. The more that you can kind of piece together, then you'll start realizing, okay, I can push this one. This one's going to run. And then you can start adding to your positions and start taking advantage of it. And especially if you know when a coin is like making a bounce or a move like this one, YG's pulling back, but I was at $400 on the trade. I'm down to 80, right? So now I'm going to catch this pullback, and I'm going to take all that profit. I'm going to put it back in it when it goes to push again. So you'll start learning how to like get in and out, taking profits and then putting profits back, because you realize that your short is now pulling into a moon reset, which is now running into the next trade, right? So once you have those trades on your head, then you're like, oh, okay, this is becoming this trade, right? So it just allows you to actually see what's happening and be able to predict it very highly at what's going to happen. All right, so here we can look at Matic, and we can see right here the money got rejected, right? So we know right here this 1 hour is going to start pulling down, right? The rejection is before the even RSI. So now we know that we have a push down here. Plus we already know we have a 2 hour, 4 hour, all the trends are red. So more than likely we're going to end up in another pull down here. So the only thing that would have happened is we would have got a green moon. Then the moon reset would have pushed it down further. This one just decided it didn't need the green moon, and it's just going to keep going down. So we're still in our daily pull down. This is the main trade. Remember we just talked about daily red. So now you got a daily red with a trend all heading down. So the only thing you need is your 4 hour RSI, right, to come up and give some type of movement here to the bounce. And then you'll be working the 2 hour and the 1 hour. So right now, this is going to be a big short. The 1 hour is already starting to get to its top, which is going to start the pull down. So Matic is looking like a nice little 20x short that's going to be pushing down here for a while. So once you start seeing those trades, like working those 15 minutes over, then you start realizing you're getting into the bigger trades. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, but that's what I said. Once you've seen the elements of it and you're kind of like in the positions that you want to be, you'll realize that you'll see, like I said, it'll come together for you pretty quickly, because you have where you've already been trading. So right now what you're looking for is just something that you can look at every time and know, like, okay, that's what that is. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it kind of just brings that down for you. So it's a nice little element to have on there. But that's kind of where it is in there.
Really, I mean, right when I went back and I was re-listening to everything from this morning, and I just, for whatever reason, I was just jumping around the time frames, just looking at it. It just played, and then you said trading the 50. We're gonna make a video about trading the 15-minute red trend. I'm like, wait, hold on. So I went back and I listened to it a little more, and then you said, treating it as like the day trade. And I'm like, whoa, hold on, let me go look at this. And it was like, okay, here it is. This is simplistic as it's going to get. And then when you can pile on, other indicators to give you that confirmation, it's like, okay, now it's honed in, and, get in, pinpoint this, nail it, for, 7 times out of 10. And now you got this trade down like a rock. Yes. And then you can move on and start adding different things to it. But I mean, this is
so take a look. So right now, because I'm going to do the video on it, but here, so take your 15-minute trend. So what you want to do is this: find 1 hour red trends, right? So first thing is this: 1 hour red moons normally run to red trends once the volume goes negative. Okay, once you're in that trading zone, right, where the 1 hour is a trend, red trend. Inside that zone, go look for the 15-minute trends, right? And then look at your entries. Play the RSIs, right? Play that 30-minute, 15-minute RSI with the 1 hour inside that trend, because that trend has pull on it. Because you already have a 1 hour red trend with the 15-minute. So now you just need the checklist. The 1, the 30, and the 15-minute all head in the same direction.
Right.
So use that as kind of like the map of saying, okay, once I have a 1 hour red trend, I just need a 15-minute red trend inside of there somewhere. Right. And as long as the RSIs are in my favor, I go through my checklist, boom, that's a trade. Track those trades, and then that's the trade you do 10 times, and then look at the results.
Yeah. Right. Yep.
All right, I'm glad, man. I'm happy, man. I'm glad you I told you would it's not this very simple, right? I said the hardest part of this, man, is that the guys go from the goal is 20 to 30%. The problem is the guys make 100 to 200, and they don't know how to close. They start thinking everything's going to run, right? Well, it's designed to compound, very simply collect money.
Right. Or you might have gotten in a little too early, or you got in a little too late, and kind of reverses on you, and then you're trying to get ahead of the stop loss, thinking it's going to reverse, and you going from 10 to 15 to 20. Oh, it's going to come back 25, 30, and then you done lost almost everything on one trade because you just didn't follow. Leave it at 10%. If you made something, if you came in bad, let it reset. Then
let it reset.
At least you know you didn't lose your ass on.
Yeah. Then you just take the L and go, okay, what happened here? And you just do a review, right? And eventually you start putting down little things that matter, and you're like, you know what? I'm just going to do that. Okay, that makes sense. And then you have a system. Then you have your step by step. So now you're like, all right, I like this, I like this, I like this. This is where I trade. I like to trade the 1 hour red trend, and I trade the 15-minute red trends inside of there, and I trade moon resets. So if I can get a 30-minute moon reset inside there, or a 15-minute moon reset, or a 1 hour, that's my trade.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
And that's all you need. I mean, like guys were like, yo, I mean, I literally, personally, I trade one trade. It makes money all the time. So, now that I've been, this week, I took the time to trade all the trades that we're posting, just so that we can double check on them. I mean, so far we've hit, we've taken $300 to 2,500 the first 4 days, and now we reset again to 1,000, and now we're at 1,500. I just started this morning.
Right.
So, I mean, so I mean, we're just, we're just testing the thing. That's why when people are like, man, why do you need so many trades? I'm so confused. If you can trade, the goal is to have a $4,000 bag and make one trade a week, or 2 trades a week that give you 30 to 40%, and you're just like, okay, there's nothing wrong with 1,500 a trade twice a week,
Right.
Yeah. So that's the whole element.
Especially, especially if you just kind of, simplify it to something that is, you know, not something you gotta, watch and, get in and out in,
Yeah, yeah,
3 to 5 minutes, or 30 seconds to a minute and a half.
yeah. You have to.
You've got something where you can get in stable, get in right with a good stop loss. And now on these, I mean, obviously you're sticking right off the bat, 20% or stuff. But initially, right out the gate, it might be a little bit better to try to hit something at 30% margin.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Or,
you want to do your
yeah,
20-30x, right? You put your take profit at 100. You know what I mean? And you kind of like,
right.
as it moves along, because you got time. As it moves along, you're moving your stop loss, and it's like, you want to stay about 25 to 30 behind, right? I like a solid 20 behind, 30
Right.
behind. Once it gets to like above the it's kind of like moving your stop loss. You get to 15, 20%, you move your stop loss to 0. And you're like, all right, gets to 30%, move your stop
Right.
loss to 15, right? Once you get to that 20 area, you did your job. Now you sit there and just let it run out, and then it's like a very simple pick your close. What's my close? 15. Most of the time you want to close on a 15-minute red moon. Why? Because the 15-minute red moon is the pullback.
You mean 15-minute green?
No. When you're doing oh yeah, I'm in a long right now, so. But yeah, 15-minute green moon. Yeah. So yeah, it's always a
Right.
15-minute moon, right? That's the one you want to kind of like respect, and then let it do its thing, let its RSI reset, and then take those 75% of profits that you took. Everything else is still running the way you thought it was going to run, and then you put it right back in,
Back
right?
in.
Yeah,
Rinse and repeat.
yeah, rinse and repeat. So I'm glad. I
Yeah,
knew.
that's it.
I told you you would see you'd basically be like, oh, okay, I get it, like because it fits. If you're a trader and you come in here, you're like, oh shit, I feel stupid. This is easy for me. Yeah, but this
Yeah,
gives you
yeah,
something
and
to be
that's all I
ABC.
was looking for, because it's like I'm just looking for something I can hone in on
Yeah,
and just bang it out every time. This is it. This is it. If it doesn't set up, move on. If this
move
is
on.
it, this
Yeah,
doesn't set up, move on. Up there it is, right here. Boom,
boom.
nailed it.
That's it. And you have very specific setups, so then you can start setting your alerts for that. So when you're set, your shit's easy. You can set it right on the trend, right? So I'll make a video and I'll show you which other indicator you can throw on, and then just set it on your 15 minutes. So every single time that 15-minute trend is coming in, right? That's your trade. Once you have the zone that you want, right? So just remember, focus. So step one, trading zone. Okay, am I in the daily trend zone? Am I in the 1 hour trend zone, right? Especially if you start moving to the day side. So on the biggest ones, the daily trend's always nice because that's the overall trend. Then you move over to your 4 hour
Right.
trends, right? That just basically helps you, continue get in on the position trade a little bit early. But once you move to day trading, now you want the 1 hour and the 2 hour trends, right? And then you throw in the 15-minute into there, and now you got early entries on the 1 and the 2 hour trends, right? Because remember, the 15. So what you're doing is you're going for the 2 hour trend trade, but you're using the 15 and the 1 hour to get in early.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds great, bro. I mean, I'm excited for you. It's only been a couple days.
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
So because everything just lines up. No, I'm not trying to cut you off.
yeah, you're good.
No, go ahead.
The way you explain it, if you just match up everything and you treat like the 15-minute as your baby and your child, like you just watch the 15-minute and the 2 hour, and then you confirm that with your 4 hour,
Mhm.
then that should make everything line up perfectly fine.
Yeah, yeah. So basically, and these are your sons, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, my son?
yeah.
No,
No, wait, no, wait. I'm
No.
not his.
Oh no, George. Yeah, George. You're a Sky. You're a Sky. So
Riley's my son.
which one?
Riley, L. Riley.
Oh, Riley. Yeah, and Jordan Skyline's your father, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I told you there's a lot of fathers and sons in here, Harold. Told you.
Right.
So basically, yeah. So what you do is this, right? So once you pick your trigger, right? Whatever trade you want, that's kind of where there's very specific trades here. You got to find one that you like, right? And I like the moon resets, right? So that just lets me know it's like having a retest or a bounce or a reset, whatever. So let's say that if you're going to be trading the 15 minutes, right? You have to say, okay, I'm trading the 15 minutes. That's your baby, right? But you need that to have support. So now you have to pick a support line, right? So what can go with the 15 minute that allows the 15 minute to execute properly? That's where we pick the 1 hour red trend. So if we have at least a 1 hour red trend, or maybe even the 30, so we'll make the video on it. We'll look at it, compare a Matic versus a lower, like a YGG, or maybe a CFX coin or something, and then piece together which one is most accurate no matter what coin you're looking at. Because that's the other variable is Matic's a 80, 60 cent coin versus a coin that might be 7 cents, right? So you have to kind of take a look and see the sensitivity that we have. That's why we adjust the settings on all our indicators to basically match up to whatever coin you're sitting on. And then we go to Bitcoin and Ethereum and match up if what we think is real or something we can guarantee a solid movement every time. Then we go to Ethereum and Bitcoin. And once that says it's good to go, then you have your process. Right?
Right.
So that's, and the reason why I'm telling you guys this is because this is about you learning how to fish, right? This is what you want to understand, what your tools that you have and how to work them, right? Because it always comes down, the one thing about human nature is why, right? It doesn't matter how many times I can do a trade in your face. If you don't, you'll still say why, right? So this is why this system is so good and why it works, is because it teaches you to basically build your trade, right? And you're building it the way you think and how you process, right? And that's why we have the one-on-ones and all the 10 trade reviews, is because that is what brings down the whole ability to teach, right? It's everybody has a different way they hear something or how they do something. So at this point, we can bring it in and make videos and understandings that to what you're doing, right? Because that's the only thing that matters here is you use the indicators that make sense to you. So you don't go why, right? You just execute, because that's the king, right? So the 15-minute trend is a beautiful thing. Now we got to go review, okay, with the 15-minute, do we rock out with a 1 hour trend, or do we need the 30-minute trend? Or are we just going to go with moons, right? So let's say we have a 15-minute red trend. Do we execute if we have the 30-minute green, moon with it, right? So there has to be two things. There has to be the trigger of the trade you want, then the supporting element to it, which indicator is going to support that move, and then the checklist is always the same: 1 hour, 30, 15. The way we enter: 3-minute moon, 3-minute trend. That never changes.
Right.
So that's the whole. That's where you build yourself a safety net, and that's really when you build it yourself. That's confidence. And when you have confidence, then you focus better and things go way better for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like I said, I mean, for only being a couple of days, looking at it, there's a lot of room here to grow and build. So that's really going to build the more you do, the better you're going to get at it. So I like that. So I'm going to, now that we had a kind of talking now, I'll take a look at that and kind of piece together a full element now that we had a chance to kind of talk it over, how you're looking at it, and then we'll kind of piece together a video for that as well.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
And you said you're gonna send me an alert that I can set specifically for the 15-minute trend.
Yeah, I'm gonna send a video for you, how to use another thing just for your trends, so that way you're all set up on that.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Perfect. That's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, man, I like it, man. So I mean, I feel like I said, you're gonna love it as soon as it'll click for you right away. So it's not and the beautiful thing is once you find your sweet spot, you just drive that shit home. What they say, learn to make $1, do it a million times.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, that's all it is. Yeah. I mean, I have fun, because I enjoy it because I come here and then it's when I talk to you guys, because all of you guys have different sweet zones. So then I go back and I'm like, all right, this is how would you do this trade that makes sense to you? And then we build videos for you using the same indicators, but they all have the same safety line, right? So then it's just all right, how do we explain this? So then when it's done, it's oh, that's a really good trade, right? But that trade is meant for you. right? These are where guys have to learn, like, that's why we have the base position and the base day trades. They got to master the basics before they start honing in. And you're kind of on another thing where you're like trading and you got an idea of what you zone in on, and now you have the tools to be like, now I got confirmations. Now I know
Right.
what's going to happen. I'm not asking
Yeah.
why. You know what I mean? I'm not guessing here,
Yeah.
right? So once you move
Yeah.
that element of hopefulness, that's 60% of the losses. Now you just increased your gains by your wins by 50% easily. Changes the game.
Yeah.
Changes
Yep.
the game, man.
Right.
All right, gentlemen. I'll work on those videos tonight, and we'll get them out tomorrow morning, and we'll sit down and we'll recap, and we'll focus in on that 15 minute, and basically get those day traders up, and then we'll break that down. All right, guys. Appreciate your time. Anything else? All good on that?
Yeah. No.
Okay. Sounds good, guys. All right. Enjoy your night.
I'll just send you a message and we'll talk about it.
Yeah. Shoot me a message. All right. So, I mean, yeah, we'll just move that forward, and yeah, I think everybody's doing really well, and then we'll just get to where we get our 10 trade reviews, and yeah, just find what makes sense to you when you see it. It's why we do the one-on-ones, and then we could just build it to what you're seeing, and that just makes life a lot easier for you, because confidence is really the simplest part of this. And when you believe in what you're seeing, you'll make trades without panicking, and then you'll actually see the mistakes you make because you're not panicking. You're expecting something, and then you'll be like, you know what? I'm gonna wait for that moon. You know what I mean? You'll start to understand what you're doing, because most times the biggest problem is people enter trades. They don't know what could happen or might happen. So when it doesn't go the way, they close the trade, and then it goes the way it's supposed to, and they never learn because they're going in and out of a trade without purpose, right? So then they're just kind of they're always in the wonder, like, why? You can't be in that. You have to let the emotions go.
I learned that a long time ago.
Yeah. All right, guys. Yeah, you learned the hard way those ways.
All right.
All right, guys. I'll talk to you tomorrow. We'll set up more times. All right, guys. All right, Harold.
All right.
Talk to you
Appreciate
later.
it. Thanks.
Bye.
All right. Bye.
BC,
Yes, sir.
I was watching a couple of trades for a long time, and I just wanted to see if I'm kind of like understanding how your indicators would work. Well, I don't have your indicators yet, but I'm just on Coinbase, just messing with whatever free indicators I could use with the RSI, and I'm just kind of watching it. And the coin is called Prime. I don't know if it's I haven't watched it in a while, but I just want to kind of try to understand how your indicators really work and see if I'm getting the full point.
Which one are you looking at?
Prime.
Prime. Hang on one sec. PRME?
Prime.
Is that?
I'll send it to you.
Yeah, is that no? Sometimes, I mean, because we do. What exchange is that on?
Coinbase.
Oh, okay, hold on. What's the current price of it?
It is $2.60. $2.60.
So we have Prime USDT. Let me see Bybit. So it's got it at 267 right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so, because I'm looking at the 15-minute,
Mm-hmm.
and it's about a matchup, and it looks like the buy power might be high, but then again, I don't know.
Well,
it
so like
indicated.
yeah, it all takes value, right? So first things first, right? So you see
Yeah.
that this is what we were just talking about. 15-minute red moon, red trend. You get this dump here, but your volume's already low. So volume pushes up, comes back down. Now you're headed the other direction now. See where the volume is becoming taller. So now you got your, you have your green moon, right? Green trend. Then red moon comes in, drags you down, and then you would be looking to enter on this green moon here, because that's the moon reset. So here is where you would have an element here of a moon reset is when the moon turns a color, the trend joins that color, the moon goes the opposite and then comes back.
Okay.
So that's a 15-minute moon reset, right? So right now you're looking at an element where this could be a coin that's making a long position, right? So now we have this section here. Now the next thing for that is the checklist, right? So the first thing is a 15-minute RSI in your favor? It is. Let's take a look at the 2-hour. It's pushing up. It's almost to the top. 1 hour is already bending sideways, so it means that it's probably going to stay flat for a little while. Your 4 hours pushing up. So yeah, you're in a long position right here. You have a 4-hour green moon here. You just don't have any trends right now. So then you need, this is where you'd be looking for confirmation, which would be the 1 hour green moon with positive volume, which hasn't happened yet. So more than likely, this is kind of going to stay here and go consolidating here before it makes a move up. Right, so here's your 30-minute pullback. Anytime you see a 30-minute or higher pullback and then move up, that's an entry position, right? So that looks like you'd be looking to enter somewhere in here, right, the 267 mark, and you would start planting your movements here, especially when you already see a candle wick up to 286 and pull back. So the next 30-minute candle would be in 15 minutes, is probably going to have a jump here.
Okay, that's what I was thinking, because that's how I was kind of reading the coin,
Mm-hmm.
and that because I just don't know really the difference between like a short or a long, or how to tell the difference, and I'm trying to learn that.
Well, here, very
And
simple.
I just need to
Go to your
watch more videos and.
Yeah, watch your videos. Go to your 3-minute. This is a short. It's all based on volume. If the volume is positive on 3-minute, it's a long. If it's negative, it's a short. See how it's bending here? See that? This is going to go right across the middle line, and this is going to be a long. So right now, prime would be an entry at 267.
Okay. All right.
So that's the easiest way to tell a long or a short. 3-minute volume. Okay.
Okay.
The other part is you slide to 15-minute. Right? 15-minute volume tells you where you're going, right? You to make a trade, you want to be past the negative. So there's a line here. This line is the 4 line, right? It's a 4.5 line, right? So it's on this side, it's a 4 line. 15-minute in the volume section. See this? See these lines? These dotted lines?
Kind. Well, I don't see your screen because you stopped sharing.
Oh. So we have a threshold, right? So we put our threshold at the 4 mark on the moon volume indicator, right? So here, you can see that there's 4 lines here. This is the same way if the volume's coming down, right? We want it to go below the 4 line, which is over here on the right, right? So this would be, when it breaks below, that means we're getting into a short. Here, it broke, now it's on the positive side, right? Means it's a long.
Okay. Okay.
Right? So the 15-minute and the 3-minute are going to tell you whether it's a short or a long based on volume.
Okay.
Oddly enough, their volume pretty much moves hand in hand.
Okay.
So this having volume on top of the 15, as long as it stays there, you're in a long.
Okay.
You already have your green moon and your RSIs are already moving. So the next thing is to look at your 4 hour, right? Look at that, it has all that room there. Next thing is to take a look at the daily, right? You can see the daily's on the floor, so that means that the push up has no pull from the daily. So more than likely, this is probably going to end up being a nice long for a while because it's just starting its reversal, right?
Okay. Okay, this makes sense.
Yeah, the only thing the only thing you have is sentiment on the 1 hour where they're hitting they're not quite at the 100 line yet, but they're already bending.
Yeah.
But you can see here, if you look at the money line is not bending, and the blue line which is the seller zone is not going flat, meaning that they're starting to become even or consolidating. They're both still on the 1 hour headed up. So it's a good sign that
Yeah.
there's strength here, right? So whatever the 1 hour does comes down. Whenever this 1 hour comes down and then starts back up, then that's going to be where you definitely want to get in on your entry. So I would play the 1 hour pullback, and then when it runs, that 1 hour starts to head up, that would be my entry.
Okay.
But you look pretty solid in these zones. Another entry is the 30-minute pullback. See how it bounced right there? That tells me that I would enter here because it's
Yeah.
strength.
Yeah. No, that's what I was looking at on my phone, because I was looking at the same thing that you're just telling me right now. It's just the buy power and how it's just about to pretty much pop here soon on the 30 and the 15, because of the crossover right there, and then it's about to dip and probably just crossover again here soon. Oh, shoot. Sorry, just elbowed the dog. Sorry, bud.
Yeah, but you're reading it right there.
But,
So the volume, just so you understand, a long and a negative is volume. Once the 3 minute goes positive, you need the 15-minute to go positive, and that's a long.
Okay. And so then if your 3 minute goes negative, then it's going to be a short.
Yeah, then it's working its way into a short, like here. So basically, look at YGG, right? So YGG is in the same scenario. Here's the difference. Notice here on YGG, the volume on your coin isn't breaking below here. See how it's breaking below here?
Mm-hmm.
Now, if I slide over to my 15-minute, notice that the volume was supposed to get to positive. It failed. This is a short now.
Yeah, then it's okay.
See? And now you can...
Okay.
Right, so now I know that this is going to pull hard on the bottom side, right? And I can take a quick peek at my 1 hour, and I can see my 1 hour is going to fight with it, right? But I need to look at my money line, right? And the thing is here is that the blue line is flat, see? It's not, it hasn't been convinced here. So more than likely the 1 hour is going to bend here, and then it's going to see a pull down before it makes its big run, right? Where the 2 hour hasn't broke above the 20 line, right? So you could go to YG here and like just on a safety note, like see how my stop loss triggered out there, right? So we're out of that trade. We won't be back in that trade till later.
Yeah. Okay. This makes sense. I like your indicators. They make everything easy, because then you just read it, and like you said in your videos, you just read the the red line and the green line, and you just go from there.
Yeah, you just need to figure out which trade you want to look for every single time, so that you can do the same trade 10 times in a row, and then fix what you're doing wrong in those 10 trades, and make it the best trade possible, and then decide if that trade is worth it. But at least you have a trade to go to, and then you do another trade, and you fix that trade, and then you're like, oh, this trade's even better, and eventually you find 3 good trades that you like.
All right. And now, how would I get your indicators? Because in the video you had said to message you for the indicators.
Yeah, so you basically,
Or
yeah, so you would be in the situation where we have to have our developers send over you have to have a TradingView username.
Yeah, I sent my username into your DMs. I should have. If I didn't, then I'll resend it here soon.
Yeah.
But would I just talk to you about that, or is there anyone else I can speak to as well?
Yeah, so if you go like with Alf, he shoot him over like he does when he pulls it up. He's got to take his time to set you up. So he does like I think he's doing $60 in Doge, and then he can get you all set up on there.
Okay.
And you can see Alf. Alf is the guy inside he'll pop up and be this guy right here.
Yep, I remember seeing him in the, what chat was it?
Yes.
I was trying to find where or who you would talk to.
Yeah, right here. So you just go into the Academy, and see how down here it says New Indicators? So if you click on there, Alf is here. So just just hit Alf up here.
Okay, just send him a DM.
Yeah. Just say, hey, say, look, I need to get set up on my indicators. What do I need to send you? They'll get you all squared away. And then he'll just need your username, and he'll get you all worked out there.
Okay. And so then you would say Prime is a good call for a long?
Yeah. Looks like, it's not going down. So it's pretty solid there. Has a long run to make. So yeah, it looks good.
It does. Because it had a really big downtrend too.
Yeah,
And
no,
I
it
looked at the
looks.
chart.
Yeah, overall, it's the daily's at the bottom. It's at its floor. So the only real place it can go is
Yeah.
up from that scenario. So I would agree with you on that one.
Awesome. Because I was, before I met you or my dad even met you, I was just trying to look at trades and use the indicators I had access to, and so try to make these chats and try, or charts and try to read them as best as I could without knowing really what I was doing. But now this all
Yeah.
kind of makes more sense.
Yeah, simple. And they're always the same thing, right? There's a checklist. So you always adhere to the same way we enter 3 minute red, 3 minute moon,
Yeah.
3 minute trend, and you always have the same checklist. So no matter what trade you're doing, those safety nets are always there to at least guide you, like to make like, oh, okay, not yet. Right. So no matter what, how you piece it together, at the end of it, you always have the same bias, right? You're still trading with your RSIs. The only difference is you're trading different
Yeah.
sections of trading zones. Right. So once you master that,
Okay.
that's what that introduction of position trading is. When I talk about trading zones, learning
Okay.
your zones is what you have to do. All right, Bubba. Sounds like you're getting along. Yeah, hit Alpha up. Tell him that you have $60 in Doge and you want to get your indicators. And he'll set you
Yeah, no,
up.
for sure. I most definitely will, and just try